Chances are if you're watching this video, you've either heard of or know someone that has broken one or more of their wheel studs, or you've unfortunately had to deal with it yourself. So if you find yourself in that situation or you kind of want to avoid it completely, I'm gonna help you guys out by showing you how to replace your wheel studs. I've already done it on the driver's side here, so we're gonna go over to the passenger side to show you the process. Specifically, we're gonna be installing some ARP extended wheel studs. So not only are they gonna be stronger, but that extra length is gonna allow us to run spacers if we'd like, and there's more threads for the lug nut to thread onto. Now, speaking of lug nuts, if you do opt for extended wheel studs, you're gonna want to run some open-ended lug nuts to accommodate for that extra length so the lug nut doesn't bottom out. Now, you don't necessarily have to run extended wheel studs. If you're looking for a quick fix, you can just get OEM replacement and press that back in. Otherwise, you can just run a standard size ARP wheel stud so you get the added benefit of that stronger material, so you don't have to worry about them breaking off again. So let's head over there and I'll show you guys how it's done. First thing we're gonna need to do is get your car up in the air and get the wheels off, and then we're going to need to remove the brake caliper. Now, obviously we have a big brake kit installed on this car, so the brake components look a little bit different, but the process is basically the same thing. There's two bolts that are holding in the brake caliper on the back side, so we're gonna wanna remove those, as well as the bolt that's holding the brake line to your coilover or strut. So go ahead and remove those. We're gonna pull the brake caliper off and set that aside, and then we can take the brake rotor off. With all the brake components out of the way, we have full access to the wheel studs on the hub here. So take a decent sized hammer and we're gonna start hammering them out one by one. Now, you guys are probably gonna have a dust shield on the front side here. So you're gonna work on the one on the back side. And then once you have that hammered out, spin the hub and then continue on until you have them all removed. Once all the old ones are removed, you can take your new wheel stud, thread one through one of the holes in the hub, and then you're gonna need a wheel stud installer tool like this one. The top side mates up perfectly with our conical lug nuts, and the back side has a bearing that spins here. Makes it super easy to install these wheel studs. A cheap alternative would be like a stack of washers, or I've used a socket, anything that basically gives you the space to torque down a nut to pull the wheel stud all the way through and into place. Also, if you do happen to have an impact gun, this makes light work of this and makes it a lot easier and quicker. One down, 4 to go. Fronts are finished up, so we're moving back to the rears. The process is basically the same. Got to get the caliper off, and then we can take the rotor off. A little bit different on the rear due to the e-brake, but we'll get into that once I get everything off. quick tip for you guys, if you aren't able to budge the rotor after you get the caliper off, if you actually take the bolt that holds the brake line in place, this actually threads into the rotor in one of these two holes here, or either of these two holes here, and helps you get the rotor off if it's stuck. So just thread that in there and start cranking down. You might need to put your e-brake on. You can hear it coming off. Once you get to this point, if you aren't installing extended wheel studs, you really can just start knocking out the old ones and replacing them with your new ones. It does help a little bit to actually remove the e-brake pads, which is what I'm gonna do just to have a little bit more room, but it isn't absolutely necessary. You just need to kind of work your way around and find the area with the most room in the back so that you can guide the new studs in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the e-brake pads off. I'll show you how that's done, and then I have to do a couple more steps since we are installing the extended wheel studs. We've got a couple springs that we need to remove with some needle nose pliers, and then for this retaining clip here, you're going to need to take a flathead screwdriver, depress the retaining clip, and then take the needle nose pliers and turn the pin so you can take the clip off. And then there is one more spring on the bottom, and then you should be able to pull this off. One of them will be held on, but you can just dangle it from the bottom and out of the way. Also, if you've never done this before, highly suggest you take a picture of everything so you know what goes where when you put everything back. Now we have plenty of room to hammer out the old wheel studs. At this point, if you're just installing normal size wheel studs, you have plenty of room back here to just feed them through. But however, like I said, I'm installing extended wheel studs, which are quite a bit longer, so I don't have quite enough room to wiggle this through. So what I'm going to need to do is undo the 4 bolts that are holding this hub in place, remove the brake sensor that's on top here, and that will allow me to pull the hub slightly out and give me a little bit more room to work with. Now we're able to pull the hub out ever so slightly while also pushing this dust shield back to give us more room to work with. And then we should be able to work the new studs in there. In theory. There we go. That pretty much covers it, guys. I've got the extended wheel studs installed on all 4 corners. Got the wheels back on, and that is pretty much it. I will leave a link to all the different wheel studs that we have available down in the description. Let me know if you guys have any other video requests, and I will see you guys next time.